This is the Spirit and Wellness Show. News and information from a higher perspective. With your host, Harry Wilkinson.
Yes, hello, this is your host, Harry Wilkinson, and welcome to the Spirit and Wellness Show. This is the show where we take a look at the days and weeks events, happenings in the world, happenings in politics, in technology, in entertainment. Sometimes we even look at sports too. Anything that we interact with daily or weekly, coming across our media, whether it's traditional media like news reports or newspapers, or whether it's through the new media online, via our smartphones, or however it comes to us. And certainly we are more engaged than ever with the world in this way. We are very connected via all of these methods. And yet it can feel overwhelming at times. So we take a step back and we look at these things from a higher perspective. And from a higher perspective, I'm talking about what I would consider to be a metaphysical perspective, or you could call it a spiritual perspective. The idea is that what we are interacting with, what we are reacting to or seeing happen around us, are really our own creations, things we have created at the highest level of our being. And the highest level of our being is that of being creators or co-creators on the metaphysical level. In other words, we are participating in, let's say, a virtual reality game of our own creation, which we quite frequently forget we are doing because we get so caught up in it. And we are playing this game, we are having these experiences because it allows us to have different experiences in a way that at the highest level of our being we certainly do not. Because if we are, as I propose, ultimately one, ultimately divine mind, then there are no limits to who and what we are. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be challenged by, particularly, because we are all one. We are everything and perhaps nothing. So, in our quest to experience, we create places, environments in which we can have experiences. Okay, I get that's a little cosmic, but that's the basis of the perspective that I come from. So if you look at stories that might disturb you, for instance, if you're looking at what's going on with perhaps politics in this country, and things that are happening at the White House, and all of the news that we're hearing about collusion and investigations and secret trysts with the Russians and things of that nature. If that's something that kind of pushes your buttons and disturbs you, or just kind of wears you out or overwhelms you, there's two things you can do. You can disconnect from all news media from all media in general and block it all out. That's one way to do it. But it's not very effective. I mean, in the short term it can be, but long term, unless you're willing to live on a mountaintop somewhere, you're going to be interacting with these media in some form or other. And in fact, disconnecting from them actually, well, it actually deprives you of a really important opportunity, which is to go into that thing, that story, whatever it is, that is causing you this, discomfort, and to go deeper within it, feel the discomfort that you're feeling, and then recognize the truth. The truth that it's all a creation, it's all a story that you have created. And you can even marvel at the detail of that creation, of how you have let it disturb you in ways. And look at the intricacy of it. Look at the detail of what we have created. And be amazed by that, with full understanding that it's not the truth of us. It's just something we've created to have an experience. And when you do that, you immediately take energy, power, back from that situation. Because in order to create that situation, you had to put energy into creating it, even though you weren't aware of that. And you know what, we're doing these things, we're creating them on our own, but we also create collectively as a collective unit, because we are one. So we're involved in this process of creation, and particularly with mass events. We're all involved, but you come at it from your own perspective. You come at it with full understanding that you've created this. The big you, not the little avatar you that you've sort of used to move through these experiences. The big you. And in making this experience, it's giving you an opportunity to grow and change and realize who and what you are, and to bring back a certain level of control. It's easy to feel like all these things are happening and I have no ability to control them. It feels out of my grasp. I heard someone the other day, and I've had conversations with people too, upset about the new proposal for the health care bill. Very upset, very fearful that it's going to hurt people. It's going to take people's medical coverage away. It's going to affect the poorest and most vulnerable in our society. And yeah, I get the fear, and I get the discomfort about that. But what you do, and they feel completely overwhelmed by this. They feel like there's nothing they can do. They feel helpless. I mean, you can pick up your phone and call your congressman and send emails and even carry signs and go to rallies, even if you're inclined to do that sort of thing. But there's this feeling of helplessness. that things are happening to you, that other people are in charge and are making decisions that are not in your best interest. And that's a fearful feeling, of course. It's not true. It's not the real truth of what's happening, but it appears that way for sure. As part of this experience, as part of this virtual reality experience that we've created together. So what you can do is go within that experience, feel those feelings, and then recognize the truth. This is not really the truth of who we are. We have powers that go way beyond these concerns. Not that we shouldn't be concerned about them. And by all means, whatever motivates you, or whatever it motivates you to do, you should do it, because that's part of the experience. But also to recognize that it is an experience and it is not the truth of who we are. And by doing that, you take away the fear and begin to understand that, whatever happens here, whatever you're creating, you will continue to create newer and greater ways, and we will expand and reconnect with the truth of who we are. And this brings us to my topic today, which is the power of the mind. And since healthcare is so much in the news these days, and the concerns about, can you afford your healthcare? The power of the mind to heal and understanding how that works really takes on a greater importance. When we talked quite a bit about this last week in our Wellness Part 2 episode about how our minds can heal us. We talked about the placebo effect, how people taking basically a sugar pill, but believing that it has certain powers and abilities to heal you, actually begin to heal, even though there's no particular medicine involved. And the other remarkable thing was that there are, in some cases, people who know they're taking a placebo. They know it's a sugar pill, and yet still somehow it allows them to heal themselves. So the healing power of the mind is, I think, largely untapped, because we're caught in a belief system that, illness happens to us from outside, and that we need medicine and preventive measures to counteract that, and that the mind is something separate from that. Now, the whole idea of holistic medicine, the whole idea of mind-body connection, begins to get us out of that illusion, but we're still very much caught in that belief system. So my take on it is that a placebo somehow allows you to break that and go outside of that so that you can access that ability of the mind to heal. So we're going to talk about the power of the mind, and we're going to continue on also talking about wellness therapies that we can use that often go alongside with the power of the mind. Pardon me. We're going to talk about naturopathic medicines, and we're going to talk about, if we have time, we'll get into another yoga pose, which can be quite helpful as a wellness therapy. But let's start with the healing power.